So, yeah, I'm talking today about consent management. So, most of you know it from websites where you basically press yes to cookie consent. And we are the leader in that space, meaning we are providing around 1.4 billion websites and apps, 1.4 million websites and apps with solutions. And we are collecting around 16 billion consent each month. Can we have the next slide, please? The button doesn't work. Yeah, I clicked, but it doesn't work. Thank you. So we are providing our solutions in 180 countries. So basically, you might see our brands on websites. It's CookieBot is one of our brand, or Usercentrics for the enterprise. We have clients like Porsche, like Daimler, like HelloFresh, Six, and others. So the probability that you consented in our solution is quite high. What's interesting is that Europe force-fronted this privacy and regulation with GDPR, but then the US copied kind of, or came a bit later with CCPA, a slightly different concept. And now it's actually exporting and evolving privacy regulations worldwide. So we have LGBT in Brazil, we have APPI in Japan, very strong privacy laws, and they all follow the concept of asking for consent before you actually execute technologies. So it's kind of binding the consent to the data, so we can anticipate a future where data never travels without the consent. And if you think about it, it's in your interest as a user. Obvious cookie banners are annoying, but it's in your interest that the consent gets bounded like strongly bounded to your data, and your data is traveling with the purpose and the scope. And that makes a difference for all users, right? Because you might agree on a data deal, but only with a special purpose, and only for a certain time. So this metadata around data is super important for us as human, especially in the age of AI, where AI just wants to grab every data it can get. We should be very concerned about our personal data and PII data to secure it and bind it to certain cases. So there are different studies basically around privacy, but the basic conception is privacy builds trust. So people have a positive privacy experience. They try to prefer those brands and loyalty. So a lot of users deleting apps because of privacy concerns. Around 40% of the deletion is because of privacy. And then revenue. So in e-commerce, privacy makes a difference. So there are studies saying that users more likely purchase if they feel comfortable with their privacy. So for us, it was a combination of increasing fines worldwide, basically, but in Europe, up 95% per year. And then also users taking care. So users reaching out to their brands saying, we want to understand your terms and conditions. We are not just agreeing to something. And I actually know a lot of people that are pressing deny on cookie banners if they can. So I think our consent rate is around 50%. So the other 50% just say, I don't care at all, and press yes. But most of those don't even know why they are pressing yes. So they don't read the terms and conditions. They just say, go away, I don't want to be annoyed. So it depends on the personal level. It's a choice we all have when doing a data deal with Facebook, Google, and others. The data privacy doesn't stop in mobile. So actually, a lot of apps are right now non-compliant, around 80% to be honest. Like, they ignore the consent. One example is the app opens and Facebook gets right away the user data. And then the app asks for consent after having a technology like Facebook built into the app. And it should be the other way around. We should have freedom of choice, saying yes or no to the data deals. Those buttons should be the same size, to be honest. So it's not okay to nudge people into a decision. And we can see a lot of big players like Google now enforcing actually CMPs, which is great for our business, but also very much needed for the education of customers. So in March, you will see Google enforcing this. So they will actually reach out to advertisers saying, without proper consent management, you can't advertise with our network, but you can't also use products like Google Analytics. So I think it's now really time to get prepared for this. And yeah, that makes CMPs being a really interesting market. So we think at least the CMP, like the core market in Europe, is around 2.6 billion. And especially with GDPR and now DMA coming in, strong privacy regulations coming in, this market will dramatically increase. For us, yeah, our company grew really fast. So as a founder, it's unbelievable. Like we grew to 350 employees, around 45 million in revenues, with 40% roughly year-to-year growth rate. And I think what's still the case is that this rule of 40 is interesting. So meaning if you add the profitability of your company with the revenue growth, you should end in the range of 40 or above. And we also realized a lot of US investors recently approached us saying, well, what's about your profitability? So I think there is a shift towards showing profitability or being able to at least project profitability. And I think that's a very sustainable sustainable way of looking at startups, not only saying what's your growth rate, but also evaluating, is there a path to profitability? Yeah, last but not least, these are some insights into our core KPIs. So we have a really interesting LTV to CAC ratio of 8.2 in no touch. We have a no touch product, so customers can register themselves for €8 per month. And then we have a high touch, obvious, for customers like Porsche or others who have a very individualized CMP. There the ratio is 2.6. OTE per FTE is around 80,000, and we are adding around 1,600 logos per month, which is obvious due to self-serve. So we have a lot of growth in Japan and Brazil. And I think there is an advantage in being in defining a category, which we had as one of our values. So we always told also our employees to really define one vertical versus not addressing all the market, but being very specific on consent management. And that helped us to be the leader in the space. So whenever you need consent management, the probability is very high that you find us with SEO, SEA, someone recommending. We have a strong partner approach, which I would recommend to every SaaS business. So 60% of our revenue is coming from partners. Partners like Google and others, recommending solutions, but then also partners, a lot of long-tail partners like agencies. So we added a network of 3,000 online agencies that install or pre-install us. And then we have those hosting provider partners, which is basically Yonos, for example, or Wix.com or others who have these homepage builders, and they are pre-installing solutions. Again, we think the data should always be connected to the consent. So even so, I think everyone here in the room is annoyed by cookie banners. Please also think about what's our next best alternative without cookie banners, because then we just give up. We just give the data to the big players, and we don't know what's happening. So in most of the cases, you as a user get profiled. Those data points might be, I don't know, your IQ, for example, just calculated by a random algorithm. And then that data is transferred again to hundreds and thousands of technologies. For example, in real-time bidding, this is a case where you have an open auction for your personal PII data. And then companies can just say, yes, I want to address that user because I know his IQ is in my target range. And you as a user, you never know where your data is. So at the end, what about a data deletion request? What if you say, this is not okay, this is wrongly calculated, you don't even know where your data sits. And if you think that through, it comes back to the consent. So if you know where you consented, or at least if you can look it up, so if you have a way of looking up where you consented, then it's very easy to execute your data deletion request saying, I don't want you to track my data. So in our mind, we anticipate a future where data, PII data, like personal data, always connects to the consent. And I think that's the best case for us as users, where we know where is our data, where we can execute the deletion request with one click, which is a solution we are working on now. So basically, it's changing the ecosystem of data for the future, which I personally really like to really know where my personal data sits and always be able to pull that back. So yeah, hopefully this gives you an insight into a new data economy. Again, very happy to connect with you guys if you have questions, and yeah, I'm happy that a European startup can also build products that are scaling internationally. So we are happy to be here today. Thanks.